What's up, producers? It's Matt from Music Producer School. Glad you could join me today. It's a beautiful day where I am. Hopefully, you're doing well where you are. I just put in the comments the Producer School community link. Be sure to go join that. I finally got the audio thing figured out on that so that on Saturday after class, I'm going to be heading over there to listen to your tracks. I'm going to let you post your stuff either on a YouTube or SoundCloud or some type of similar streaming link. I'm going to be listening while you're listening, and everybody else in the community who's on the live stream will be listening. We're only going to do it there, and I'm going to critique and give you feedback on your tracks. So be sure to join the Producer School community. The link is in the Facebook comments. And yeah, I have some new classes that I'm going to be putting out pretty soon. That, you know, the live streams are kind of a way to let me answer your questions as we go. So if you do have any questions, be sure to send me a comment. Be sure to share this stream if you come across it. And also leave me a comment. Let me know where you're watching from. And also let me know any of your questions you may have regarding producing, mixing, recording. It could be anything music related. I'll be happy to help you with. And I'm going to get started. We're going to start getting into a little more, hopefully, fun things in the next few weeks here. But again, I just wanted to start out kind of at the very beginning for everybody so that we're all on the same page. A lot of people think that the details and the stuff probably that I've gone over up to this point are maybe a little bit boring. But the thing is, these are actually the fundamental things that, you know, me personally, I wish I had known in the beginning of my production career, because it would have helped me it would have helped save me a lot of time. So with that being said, let's get on to our discussion today on vocals, part 2. So in the first part of the class the other day, I was kind of talking more about microphones and microphone choices. And also, if you don't have a microphone to record vocals with, I showed you some resources that you can go to get free, or for the most part, free a cappella vocals, which again, if you're new, that's just meaning a vocal track only without the instrumental behind it. So that's what a lot of DJs use to remix. I've done a ton of remixes myself. I love remixing. And acapellas are a great way to get your feet wet if you're not able to record your own vocals yet. And honestly, acapellas are great also because you can listen without the extra tracks in there to the way that the producer and the artist put together the vocal arrangements. You know, a lot of people don't realize vocals are not just this one single vocal line. You have the lead vocal, sometimes you're doubling the lead vocal, then you have background vocals, and when you do background vocals, you may have different harmonies, which are at different intervals. So if you go back to one of the very first classes I did about music theory, if you learn how to do those intervals, like the major third, the minor third, the fifth, the seventh, the major seventh, all that stuff, which again, we're going to cover in greater detail. These are going to be the things that are going to give you a roadmap to show you how to go to the next level, because you can sit there and guess. And you know, I was the biggest guilty person of this ever when I first started producing. I thought that because I had a good ear, and I do have a pretty good ear when it comes to music, but I thought because I could hear when something sounded good, I thought I knew how to make something sound good. And those are two different things. If you have a good ear and you can hear things that sound good, that's one thing, and that's great. But to be able to come up with things that sound good, that's where you really need those fundamental music theory things that I showed you, because you're always going to have something that you can go to when you get stuck. And I can't emphasize that enough. That would have helped me out a lot in the beginning of my career, because again, I was good at hearing when something sounded right, but I would be sitting there for hours, you know, just scrolling through sounds, presets, you know, trying to just get this, you know, inspiration, which I don't really, I still believe that inspiration is a thing to a degree, but I used to think inspiration was everything, and inspiration is a very, very small part of the game when you get into the professional part of producing. So I just, you know, I'm going to talk more about that later, but I just wanted to emphasize those building blocks that I've been showing you guys and girls at the beginning on up to this point are super important to give you the tools. Again, I want you to be a problem solver. That is my goal in Music Producer School, teaching you how to solve musical problems, because believe me, when you start doing the real deal thing and producing for artists, producing for commercials, TV, movies, whatever it is, you will run into problems, and you need to have these tools in order to figure out how to keep moving forward. And that's the same thing for your own productions as well. You know, you're gonna start producing stuff, and we've all done this. I've done it a million times. You get some inspiration, and then you start plugging away, and you got like a little beat going and a little bit of a track going, and then all of a sudden you just hit a wall, and that track goes to the unfinished pile, and that unfinished pile just gets bigger and bigger, and then you keep starting new tracks, unfinished pile gets bigger and bigger, and you just don't seem to finish any tracks. And that's a big problem with a lot of producers. So I want to show you how to solve these problems. So anyway, let's get into vocals part 2 today. So I am still working on this kind of example track that we did. I'm going to follow my own advice, and before we mess with anything, I'm going to do a file save as, and I'm going to go and save this as a new version. So this is lesson 14, vocals point part 2. So what I wanted to show you guys today was just a couple strategies. Again, I'm actually speaking to you on this Yeti, this Blue Yeti microphone, which, in case you missed the last lesson, I was showing kind of what that looked like. Let me show y'all really quick one more time in case you missed it, which microphone I'm using. I'm not really going for any pristine, clean vocal sound right now. I just wanted to show you guys a couple examples today as far as recording vocals. But let me just show you what microphone it is that I'm using right now. So I am just using this microphone right here, the gray one specifically. And that's what I'm talking to you on. And that's what I'm going to be recording on in Ableton today with. So what I wanted to show you is just a couple different strategies for recording vocals, a couple different ideas to try out when you're recording vocals. And also, if we have any songwriters out there, I wanted to show you a little tip that was a very big turning point for me as far as coming up with ideas when you're writing a song. So one thing that I learned when I used to work in Los Angeles is some of the big artists and producers that I was working with, they had this thing that they would do that it seems kind of weird at first when you first start doing it, but I was always curious. I was like, man, how do these guys come up with these super cool melodies? As we all know, if you don't know, melody is the key for hit songs. Melody is the key for hit songs. I had to say it twice, it's so important. So I would always think to myself, man, how are these guys always coming up with these great melodies? And what I realized is for hit songwriters, meaning the biggest of the big, the stuff you hear on the radio, the stuff you hear all over the world, most of the time, not every time, but most of the time, what they're doing is they're coming up with a melody first. Now, you may have a lyric that you want to base a song around, so you may come up with a hook lyric, you know, something that the chorus is going to be that's super catchy, but immediately you're going to want to work it into a cool melody. But typically, I found a lot of these guys are coming up with melodies first, and then they're coming back with words and lyrics to fit on top of that melody. And the weird thing is this: when they're doing this, they're coming up with the melody, they're typically singing it, but they're not singing words. They're just kind of mumbling stuff. And it's just basically what you call phonetic, meaning you're not using a real word, but you're just humming something with a melody to it. So let me show you what I mean. And I'm interested to see if some of you out there can try this method. And be sure to send me a comment or a message and let me know if it worked for you, because I use this pretty much on every song I do now. It just works really great. So let me make sure I have this set up correctly. Okay, so that's my chorus. Make sure you guys are getting it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn down And actually, I'm going to use my trick that I showed you guys with mixing the other day. I'm going to make this extra track here. And I'm going to call this, let's just call it the track. And I'm going to send all of these instruments to the track. So now I have this whole instrumental on this one fader right here. So this is another cool tip if you're recording vocals with an artist. I would recommend putting this this mixing trick into play, because what's going to happen inevitably is the artist is going to say, "Hey, I need more of me." And one thing, and I guess I'll start here with our first official vocal tip here. The artists are always going to want more of themselves in the headphones. So what you're going to start off doing is they're going to say, "Hey, I need more of me." So this is my vocal track right here, right? And I told y'all I always put my vocals in a pink. So they're going to say, "Hey, I need more of me." So you're going to bump it up a little bit, and then inevitably they're going to say, "Hey, I need some more of me." And you're going to bump it up, and you're going to bump it up. And then like on Ableton here, it only goes up to 6. So what I would recommend is, instead of bumping up their vocal, if the artist says, "Hey, I need more of me," route all of your instrumental tracks and backing tracks to one channel, so you have everything on this single fader right here. And then when they say, "I need more of me," say, "Okay, hey, I'm going to turn the track down, turn your headphones up." And that's always going to be the best way to do it. Now, the other cool thing is, if you don't route everything to this one track, you're going to wind up trying to adjust all of these instruments separately. And let's say you've been working on this beat and you start adjusting, "Oh, well, let me pull this down real quick. And again, if you have an artist in the booth and they're ready to record, you can't really be sitting there and say, "Okay, let me -3 on this. Let me -5. You want to just keep your overall balances the same, but you want to just bring the whole track down. So again, highly recommended tip. Route all of your instrumental tracks to this one track channel, and then that way we'll be able to just adjust the volume as needed. So let me okay, so I got my vocal here. Now, because of the way I have this routed to you guys, it may sound, let me see if I can, yeah, I'm gonna try and just mute that out. Now, I'm a little bit far away from my microphone, so I'm gonna try and do this the best that I can for you guys. Let me go ahead and throw a little reverb, little delay. Okay, so let me show y'all how this trick works. I'm gonna give a little bit of track to play. You dive down, now. You bear me down, All right, so I think you get the idea there. Hopefully that came through well. Now, what I wanted to show you here is that I'm not, again, actually singing any words. Let's make sure we got that. You dive down, you bear me down. So let's just work with that part, that little piece right there. So this is kind of like, I would say, like almost like the Weeknd kind of vibe, I guess we're going for on this. It's like R&B, kind of trap, hip-hop type thing. So again, if you're just writing a song, this is an excellent strategy to use, because you can come up with melodies. And again, you don't have to really be a keyboard wizard, or if you don't play an instrument, if you just hear melodies in your head, it's a lot easier to just sing them out like this. So what I would do if I was writing this song is I would play this track, I would record the melody just like I did, and now I would go back and start trying to work some lyrics into this melody, okay? So again, if you're just writing a song, let me go ahead and save. That's another quick little tip for you guys. I'm on a Mac, so I'm always doing Command S, Command S, Command S, which is file. That's the key shortcut for file save. You never know when you throw a plug-in on or something if everything's gonna crash. So save often, and save more than often, because you'll thank yourself when something inevitably crashes. So let me just show you guys again. That was just, say, our lead vocal, and then let's say you're working with a singer that's a little bit out of tune. So we'll throw a quick little auto tune on there just to kind of tighten up the melody a little bit. And again, if you're just writing, this is something that can be cool, because it's gonna not, if the singer missed a pitch somewhere, it's not gonna distract so much from the from the melody. So I believe we were in A minor here. Okay, let's try this. You got me down. All right, cool. So that's our main vocal line. So today I wanted to not necessarily focus so much on mixing vocals, but just kind of some strategies for recording vocals, okay? So that would be our first vocal track. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do another track. I'm going to set my microphone input here. And then we don't want to record anything else on this track. So now we're going to do something called ad-libs, which are kind of the fill-in types of things that you can do in between. So let's see if I can get something cool going for this now. Let me mute my microphone here. All right, now we're back in Ableton. So let's try this loop right here and see if I can come up with something on the... So this is what you would call more of like an ad-lib. So you see where there's pieces we can fill stuff in between these phrases. That's kind of where I'm looking to maybe put something. So let's see what we can come up with something here. All right, nothing too super cool on that, but it's something. And again, the key when you're recording vocals and if you're producing your own music, you know, don't be super judgmental about what you're doing when you're trying ideas. If I was actually recording this for a song for myself, I may run this loop, and that's another cool little tip too, is get it familiar with how to do loop recording on your DAW of choice, because what you can do is just run this loop, you know, maybe 4 or 5 times and keep recording stuff, and that way you can kind of get into the feel, get into the vibe of the track, and you can always just go pick through those different takes. So what I wanted to show y'all today is on our main vocal, we're just going to keep it kind of straight up. And then on this ad-lib one, I wanted to show you some stuff that I like to do as far as ad-lib kind of mixing. So what I definitely want to do is I want to bring my volume down a little bit. So let's see what this sounds like. And let's copy this auto tune over to this one so that we have a little bit of uniformity. Okay, so like right here, I'm listening back already, and I'm like, okay, I think I can hear something, because you hear how, and you can see also how this vocal right here is overlapping with our lead vocal. We really don't want to do that. So what I'm thinking is, and this is kind of more of an arrangement thing, I'm going to do a shorter line right here. I'm just going to do got the. So instead of saying got the sound, is kind of what I was saying right here, I'm going to just do got the. So let's listen to that. So let's listen to our next one. Yeah, that's kind of cool. So one of the key things that I wanted to point out today when you're recording vocals is when you're doing your lead vocal, you want it to be nice and full. I'll get more into mixing the lead vocal, but let me just show you some quick stuff really quickly that I do to most of them. Is I'm going to definitely slap a compressor on here. So let's just listen to the single vocal first. I usually like to do between a 2 to 4 time ratio here on my compression. And I usually like to get between 2 to 3 decibels of reduction. So something about like that I think will work. I usually boost the high end. Now this Yeti microphone is a little bit bright already, so I'm probably not going to have to do too much. Okay, so now on my ad lib rather, I want to, again, I'm going to do some compression, but this is one of the keys with ad libs. Your lead vocal, you want to be fairly dynamic. You want it to kind of move with the track, volume. You want the listener to be able to feel like they're almost in the vocalist's face, you know? But with the ad lib stuff, you don't want that to distract from the rest of what's going on. So one thing that I like to do, I'm going to clean this up a little bit first. And then what I like to do on my ad libs is I like to compress them super, super hard. So I'm going to put this on like a 18-to-1 ratio. I'm going to bring my attack to super, super quick because I want the compressor to bite down on that vocal super quickly so that it doesn't jump out at you. Okay, so let's listen to this. And let's bring my threshold down and compress it a little harder. Okay, that's cool. So now what I want to do is I want to get rid of a good bit of this low end because I also, this is another example of contrast. If the lead vocal is a nice full range, meaning it has all of those frequencies in it, I want to, in order to keep it sounding big, I can't really add a whole bunch more to a vocal without kind of jacking it up. So what I want to do is to make the lead vocal sound nice and big, I'm going to subtract things from my background and my ad-lib vocals. So with this ad-lib down here, I'm going to get rid of a good bit of the low end, probably, let's see what up to 500 hertz sounds like. Yeah, something like that. I'm also going to get rid of a bit of the high end, and I'm going to boost this EQ right about here. So that's kind of cool. That's kind of getting into what I like to refer to as the radio sound, which is a cool effect to put on ad-lib vocals. Now, what I want to do again here is I'm going to really boost this in the mid-range, and then I'm going to put another compressor on here so that once I boost these frequencies, it's going to kind of level out again when I hit this second compressor. So this is what you call serial compression, meaning I'm using one compressor and then I'm going into another compressor. Let's see what that sounds like. Yeah, that's kind of cool. All right, cool. Now another thing I like to do is on my ad-libs, I like to do a little bit more delay so they'll kind of ring out, and then maybe just a touch more reverb to set them. Reverb I think of as setting something back in the mix. So the more reverb you have, the more it sounds like it's in this big room. So let's see what this all sounds like together now. Put my track back at 0. Now this is another example of right here. This ad-lib I like, but I think maybe we could move it a little bit. So what I'm going to do is, it might be hard to see on your screen, but I actually just increased my grid. My grid was on quarter notes. So this is bar 23, beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, and beat 4. But what I did was I just put it on eighth notes. So now it's eighth note, eighth note, eighth note, eighth note. So that way what I can do is I like to chop my vocal right on the grid. So that way when I move it, I know that it's going to stay in time with the track. I'm not just kind of arbitrarily just shifting it wherever. So I'm now going to take this and I'm going to try and shift it over an eighth note. Let's see what that sounds like. So let's try one more eighth note. Yeah, so I'm not really digging that, so I'm going to bring it back to where it was. Yeah, I think I liked it where it originally was, so that was cool. So another little trick I wanted to show you guys before I wrap up today's lesson is this super cool plugin that is almost like a cheat code, and I'm gonna show you guys some more of this at another time, but I wanted to show this to y'all quickly before I wrap up today's lesson. So this was just hopefully giving you guys some ideas, especially if you're recording your own music or if you're working with other artists. A couple little tricks, like I said, like getting the headphone mix nice for the artist by using that track channel mix that thing that I showed you. Also, how to filter some of your ad-libs and your background vocal stuff. So let me show you this one last cool trick, and I'm gonna wrap it up for today. So I have this plugin, and I'm not really super big on recommending plugins that especially cost a bunch of money. I'm honestly not sure how much this plugin costs anymore, but it's super cool and super worth it. And let me show you how this works. I'm going to duplicate my lead vocal track, right? Now, this plugin is made from Auto-Tune, and it's called Auto-Tune Harmony Effects. And let me show you this. Hopefully it pulls up. I haven't used it in quite a while. But this plugin, what it allows you to do, let's see, it looks like, yeah, it looks like maybe it doesn't want to, there we go. Okay, so this plugin is super cool because what you can do with this is basically, let me try it. The GUI on this thing is a little funky. Let me see if I can get it to pull up for you guys. Let me see if I have a, yeah, I have a VST version. Let's try this version and see if it works a little bit better. Harmony. Hopefully this doesn't crash our session here, but that's why you always need to pull oh no, we had a crash there. All right, let's try another one. If I can't get it to pull up for you guys on the screen, it's pulling up for me, but it's just not showing up on the screen for you guys. But I wanted to show you how this plugin works because it's super cool. And if I can't get it to pull up on the screen for you, I'm gonna just pull up a picture on Google for you and show you how it works because it's super cool and it's almost like a cheat code for vocals, and it looks like maybe it might be trying to crash my Ableton session here. So let me while we're waiting for that, let me pull up a picture of it so you guys can see what it looks like. So anyway, what this plugin allows you to do is you can put it on a vocal track, and it actually, by using the same technology that Auto-Tune uses to change pitch, it will actually let you select a interval, meaning like a major third, a minor third, to put on top of your vocal. So if you're trying to come up with cool background vocals, especially if you're like a pop singer or working with a pop singer, if you're doing something like R&B especially, these are super cool and super nifty to be able to use. So let me see. They may have actually, yeah, it looks like they may have turned it more into something Harmony Engine, but here's the photo of it right here. Pull this up for you and let you check it out. All right, so let me see if we can flip back here. So yeah, it doesn't want to show you guys the photo, but I can bring it up for you here. So if you look up here, over right here, so what it does is it has these sliders and you can actually pick the interval. Hey Jonathan, thank you for the comment. I appreciate it. That's what I'm trying to do, man. Just keep everybody inspired and hopefully, you know, make everybody produce better. I appreciate the comment. Thanks, dude. So with the Harmony Engine, essentially it lets you pick these intervals and you can mix in how much of the interval you want for your background vocals. So let me show y'all in practice how this works, even though unfortunately it's pulling up on my Ableton, but it's not showing it to you guys. I think it's just like a graphic kind of a glitch here. Trying to get it to where it would pull up for you, but it doesn't look like it will. So anyway, just listen along and I'll show you how this works. So it allows me to pick the key. Oh wait, there we go. So it allows me to pick the key, so I know that we're in A minor. So I want to solo, or actually I'm just going to mute out everything but just one of these guys. And I like to just really use one at a time. So I'm going to use, we're in a minor key. So let's try the major third and see what that sounds like first. And this is going to be a major third above. There we go. Okay, I see how it's showing it to you guys now. So if you see right here, I have it a major third above. So let's listen to that. So listen to this now with the original vocal. And another thing, like I said, you can't have both of these vocals stacked on top of each other and let them both play full on, especially with their frequencies. So I'm gonna sweep on, this is the harmony vocal right here, and let me label it harmony. So let's listen to that and filter out a good bit of the bottom end so it doesn't compete. All right, so let's listen to that with our original vocal. All right, Ableton doesn't want to cooperate with all these plugins now. Let me bump my sample rate up, my buffer a little here. There we go. So check this out in the track now. Yeah. Now, again, I'm just doing this super quick, like on the fly for you guys, but you can hear how quickly you can start doing these little tricks that are going to start not only making your stuff sound better, but like my man Jonathan just said, it's going to inspire you when you know how to get these types of sounds quickly. That's the biggest, I think, thing that we all fight against when we're producing, is we're trying to stay inspired. You're working, but then you come to a standstill because you're not sure what to do. So again, I wanted to teach you guys how to problem solve and how to get these cool things happening quickly. So that way when you're, let's say, working on vocals for a track, These are the types of things that you can start adding so that it sounds like a song a lot quicker. And it's not just you're just trying something, trying this, trying that. These are things that are always going to work. Again, these are more like system things that are going to always give you a good solution. And that's what I'm trying to teach you. Yeah, Jonathan, this plugin, it's the Auto-Tune Harmony Engine, I think it's called. Like I said, if you're working on R&B or anything with vocals, really, this plugin is super awesome. Now, let me close this lesson out by telling y'all this. What I like to do with this plugin is I don't think I've used it in tracks before where I just kept it like this and it worked. But what I really like to do is I'll actually do like a vocal production session with an artist where, you know, I'm not the world's greatest singer. I'm just showing you guys this for an example. But what I'll do is when I get the singer in, I'll typically do the lead vocal on one day, and then I'll say, okay, let's come back and do all of our ad-libs, all of our background vocals, and if there's something on the lead vocal that you don't like, we'll go ahead and touch that up also. And I'll tell you what, as soon as I slap this plug-in on and I start playing these intervals, the singers will immediately, if they're a decent singer, they're immediately going to start hearing these harmonies, and they'll be able to go into the booth just from you playing this example, because a lot of singers, they kind of intuitively know how to sing a harmony, but a lot of people have trouble coming up with harmonies. But as soon as they hear that first pass of it, they're like, oh, I know what I could do. I know what I could do. And then that way it's kind of becoming like a reference for them. And then they can go back in the booth on background vocal day and start adding this stuff again. So let me play this for you guys one more time. You got back down. You brought me down. All right, you guys, like I said, I hope that was helpful today. I plan on getting into some more kind of fun stuff like this, some more actual production stuff in the coming weeks. So once again, if you wouldn't mind, be sure to hit the share button on this stream. And also, don't forget, I put the comment in the first comment today on the Facebook comments. Be sure to join the Music Producer School community, because every Saturday I'm going to be going over there after our Saturday class, and I'm going to let you guys post your music. I'm going to listen to it live on the community page, but only there. So you have to be a member in order to participate. But I'm going to let you post your music. I'm going to sit there and listen to it live, and everybody that joins is going to be able to listen to it live. And I'm going to give you some feedback on your mixing, on your production, on your songwriting, the whole thing. So go ahead and join that. I'll approve you as soon as you ask to join. And I hope this was helpful today, you guys. I will see y'all again on Saturday. Y'all have a great day. Peace out.